Municipalities still have a long way to go to improve their governance systems. This after the Auditor-General's report revealed that only 34 out of 257 municipalities received clean audits. Let's discuss how to get our municipalities working and how others get it right. I am joined by Dr. Roy Havemann from the Stellenbosch University. Dr. Havemann, a pleasure to have you on the program this afternoon. Firstly, what are the key factors which differentiate the municipalities that receive clean audits from those that simply don't?
Yes, thank you very much, and good afternoon to your listeners. I think it's very clear from the Auditor-General's report that there's obviously quite a very worrying trend amongst municipalities. Her report does have some good news in the sense that there were a number of municipalities that improved their audit outcomes, and then there were 45 municipalities that improved their audits since 2020 to 2021 in the previous financial year, but 36 of them have regressed. And she goes into quite a lot of detail to answer the question about why is this happening. One of the most important things is that there's a lack of accountability, she highlights. There's a lack of capacity in municipalities. And finally, there is a culture of ethics and accountability that is not happening. And so I think you can definitely see from municipality to municipality that some municipalities take this very seriously and some other municipalities don't. And that is, I think, leading to different audit outcomes across different municipalities.
Let's get into that. In your view, what systematic changes are required at the provincial and also national levels to improve municipal governance?
Yeah, I think the first thing which I think is super important is, of course, this idea of creating, professionalizing and capacitating local government. So many municipalities have got vacant positions, and the Auditor-General highlights this in her report. What also happens is the high turnover of vacant positions, and there are many municipal managers that don't meet the minimum competency requirements. There are a set of minimum competency requirements that are out there, which is not always insisted upon by the councils and by the provinces.
But Dr.
Of course,
no, you can go ahead.
No, yeah. So I think that is a very big issue, right? So that if you don't have municipal managers, and particularly the CFO, if you don't have a CFO that is experienced in local government, then you are going to have audit problems. And that is, I think, one key area that can be improved is for province and national government to do a lot more to make sure that CFOs are appropriately resourced and have the skills that they need.
But how can municipalities then balance the need for financial consultants with this goal of building internal capacity?
Absolutely. So, I mean, I think the Auditor-General also highlights the fact that there's a very large reliance on external capacity and on consultants. And while that might be a good thing in the short run, because it might help you in the short run, you actually have to develop your own capacity. There's a lot of need to create an action plan to capacitate the key units in the areas. So you need people that do financial planning, particularly infrastructure planning. You need to make sure that you monitor your cash flows and that you have your money invested in the right places. And there has been a huge amount of work done, and full credit to the National Treasury and to some of the provincial treasuries on this to improve financial management, including the introduction of a financial management system, so an electronic system that every single record and every single transaction can be recorded on. But that's still not enough. I mean, we're still seeing many municipalities are falling behind and are just actually not keeping track of their cash flow positions, not paying suppliers on time, and simply not doing service delivery.
So the problems plaguing municipalities have been well documented and also highlighted by the AG. What role does political instability, for instance, or even interference from a political level play in the performance of municipalities, and how can this be mitigated?
Yeah, that's obviously a big issue. So when there's big turnover from a political perspective in any direction, that always brings about instability. And I think one of the important things to do is to protect the administration from the politicians as far as possible. That also goes both ways. I mean, one of the issues is sometimes politicians do want to make improvements, and then they find it very difficult to get rid of corrupt people. So it's a little bit more complicated. But in general, obviously, political instability plays a very big role. And, one only has to look at the history to see that what often happens is when a new administration comes in or there's political change, then there are municipal managers that change and CFOs that change. And obviously, as we know, in some municipalities, Johannesburg being a good example, we've had a change of administration backwards and forwards quite a number of times, a change of mayor backwards a number of times. And what you really need to do is build a strong, capable government that can survive these many political upheavals.
Dr. Havemann, can you provide examples of municipalities that have successfully turned around their performance? And what were the critical steps taken from your view?
Yes, there are a number of municipalities. So if you go into the Auditor-General's report, she actually highlights this. So I think particularly one of the municipalities have done a lot in terms of improving, for example, their outstanding, some of them have done a lot in terms of improving the outstanding amounts to Eskom, which is a very large component often of debt. Eskom has allowed some leeway for municipalities. There's been a lot of work from the Treasury to allow municipalities to improve that, but not all of them have managed to do that. And so you have seen municipalities that have really worked hard to improve their audit outcomes, because that's actually relatively easy. It's all about the processes. It doesn't mean that you are financially in good health. You can have a clean audit and be in financially good health, bad health at the same time. But it's a huge, big first step. And we've seen a number of municipalities. So the Auditor-General does highlight these 35 that have improved, and we've had a number of municipalities under administration. So there have been 33 municipalities around the country that are under administration, and some of them have made very important steps to come out of distress. Cedarburg has, for example, been a good example, and other examples Beaufort West has had some successes and has moved quite well in terms of improving their action plan. And Lekwa in the northern province, which has had very difficult intervention by national government, is slowly going in the right direction. So there have been some successes. Often they come with intervention either by the national government or by the provincial government.
Dr. Roy Havemann, thank you so much for sharing your insights today. It's been incredibly valuable in understanding the complexities of municipal governance, but also the paths to improvement as highlighted in the Auditor-General's report.